Angela, we're twinning.
We're twinning, yes. Hey, boys and girls, I am a super duper excited. You can probably tell it in my voice. Yes, I am fangirling because I have a Reese Ryan hanging out with me today, guys, to spill the tea. And guys, I got my crew. Oh my goodness. I got Midnight Ace from Midnight Ace Book Bar. I got Shannan Harper from Harper's Court. I got Tiffany Jones from Tiff's Happy Place. Guys, let me just tell you, these book bloggers and book reviewers, we are hanging out with Reese Ryan on today. Yes, we are all fangirling because we love us some Reese Ryan. But guys, we are spilling the tea on the bad boy experiment. Oh my goodness, we had to talk about it. So thank all of you for joining us on today. Hello, Georgina. Thank you for joining us on today, guys. We're getting ready to get into it, and you we do it here on Angela's Literary Tea. Of course, we're going to tell you what we're rocking, what we're drinking today before we get into spilling the tea. Are you ladies ready?
Already.
Yes. All right, guys. So we are going to start with Miss Midnight Ace of Midnight Ace Book Bar. Midnight, introduce yourself. Tell us what you're wearing and what you're drinking.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody.
I'm sure it's not any King's Finest.
No, it's not
wine.
No, it's not wine yet. It's still early yet. But I am Midnight Ace at the Midnight Ace Book Bar, and I am drinking coffee out of my Book Boss glass or mug. And I am rocking one of my all-time favorites here, Black Writers Matter. So, yes.
I love it.
So, and I am so ready to get into this book.
I love it. Love the t-shirt, Midnight, and love the mug. All right, boys and girls, we have Shannan Harper from Harper's Court. Shannan, introduce yourself. Tell us what you're wearing and what you're drinking, my friend.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shannan Harper. I am an avid reader, blogger, book reviewer. The name of my blog is called Harper's Court Literary Blog. And it's snowy out here because I'm in Illinois. So I have my sparkling water. And I also have my hot chocolate mug. It's kind of hard to see, but courtesy of Cheryl Lister.
All right.
I have several author mugs. She's one of my top favorites. I'm trying to get some more. So I'm looking for anybody else who has a mug. I'm going to get it.
All right, next up, we have Miss Tiffany Jones of Tiff Happy Place. Introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. I'm Tiffany Jones from Tiff's Happy Place. And I'm so excited to be here with Reese. Reese, you know I love you. I follow you everywhere.
Right.
Today, I'm twinning with Angela. So I don't know if you guys can see, but the reading is a lifestyle from Shelves Indie Bookstore. Yes. And I am drinking water, black cherry flavored water. Today was moving day at college, so I'm dedicated. So I'm
on the road,
in the parking lot as we do this, but I'm focused on this. There's no other distractions, so let's get into it.
Yeah.
I love it, Reese. See, you got some super fans dedicated. She's moving her daughter to college from the holidays. She is ready to talk about it. Oh my goodness!
Thank you so much.
Yes. Oh my goodness, guys. We have author Belle Calhoun. She's hanging out with us too. Hey, Belle. So good to see you. Okay, what am I wearing? Yes, like Tiffany said, guys, we are rocking our Reading is a Lifestyle sweatshirt. And the reason, I don't know, Tiffany, we may have the same thing in mind, but those of you who have read the book, there was this scene where, Cole give Ren his sweatshirt or what have you. So I was kind of feeling that kind of vibe or what have you. So I said, let me rock my sweatshirt or what have you too to represent Cole in the house. Okay. So again, that's what I'm rocking today. Of course, I am drinking out of my, yes, I really do need all of these books mug, and I'm drinking hot lemon tea. And so speaking of tea, are you ladies ready to spill the tea?
Yeah,
come on.
And before we do that, of course, guys, I have to let Reese Ryan introduce herself.
I'm Reese Ryan. I write sexy, emotional, romantic fiction, grown folks romantic fiction featuring lots of family drama, surprising secrets, and a cast of complicated, sometimes messy characters. And my shirt that I'm rocking today is, I don't know if you can see it, stained with the ink of Baldwin, Angelou, and Giovanni. And I love the shirt. And I have two literary drinks. Number one, I got my book nerd glass filled with water that I got courtesy of the Victoria's ladies reading and Michelle Chavez. And then I have my Bisbee Bean Company that came from a friend of mine, Kay Sterling, who writes Mail, and she has these fantastic little kits you can get, whatever, that are themed from her Haunted Hearts series. And so that's the Bisbee Bean Company, which is in it's a fictional coffee shop that's in the books. And so that's my favorite mug right now. So.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I love it. I love it. Well, Reese, thank you so much for coming over to the cafe for tea time to hang out with us. Of course, MidnightAce Book Bar, Tiff's Happy Place, Harper's Court with Shannan Harper. Thank you guys, as well as fellow book to come out and hang out with us. Reese, I don't know if you know, but the three of us, so excited. Guys, for anybody out there that don't know, this was my first read of 2022, and it was just, I loved it. Wow, this story, and I'm going to definitely let Midnight and Tiffany and Shannan share as well, because I know that they have also followed this series since the beginning. Bittersweet. I promise y'all I'm not going to cry. Savannah, it's bittersweet. Savannah's Secret is where it started off, and I started off with that one. But to end it with Cole's story, and we're definitely going to get into it. I don't know about the ladies, but for me, of course, you know, Cole I was a fan favorite of Cole or what have you. But I had a new respect for Cole by the time I finished this book, y'all. I had a new respect for Cole. So we're gonna get ready to get into it. We're not gonna hold y'all off too much longer. But before we do that, I do want Reese to kind of give a little summary of this series or what have you. Reese, if you could kind of do that for someone that may be just joining us that don't know about the Bourbon Brother series.
The series is about the romantic and business adventures of a family, most of whom run their own world-renowned Black-owned distillery in Tennessee. And so that's the series overview. The overview of this book is two former high school crushes become current real estate rivals and unwilling next-door neighbors. They resume their former friendship, and it turns into something more, and they have to make a decision between love and business. So that is the summary of the book.
I love that. I'm gonna start with Midnight, and then we're gonna go around. If you can kind of tell a little bit about just what this series mean to you and your thoughts, because this is the last book in the series as well. We'll start with you, Midnight.
Well, definitely bittersweet. It's always bittersweet when you embrace these families and you become one of them. And then when you know that the last book is coming out, you want to read fast, but then you don't want to read fast because you know it's going to end. But I do appreciate you, Reese, for writing this. I started this series with Savannah's story too. And I have to say, though, I did not expect to be so caught up in this series. Because Savannah was like, she was that romance story, and like, okay, yeah, we got this, all right. And by the time I met Cole and Parker, I've talked to you about Parker before. By the time I met Cole and Parker, I was like, oh, no, this ain't one of your fly-by-night series. Let me sit down here. So Cole and Parker are my heartbeats. And I will say, when we first met Cole, you couldn't really tell whether or not he was an Abbott or just a cousin or something, because that's just the way he was. But when we got his story, like, I really like Angela said, like, you told his story. You made him iconic for me. So yes, so I am not ready. I was not ready to let these two go. And I mean, Parker just got on my nerve. And I was just like, ugh, please, not him again. And then, oh no, she giving him a story now? Like, ugh. Okay, but I'm gonna read it because it's part of the series. And oh my God. Oh my God. Parker and Cole in the Abbott family, those are some unique specimens in that family. And thank you so much for introducing them to them. Those are my heartbeats right there. Those are my heartbeats.
Thank you so much. Oh my God. Oh, that makes
I love it. I love it.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's my 2-bit on the series there.
Thank you so much, Midnight. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all your support.
I love it.
And what she said right there,
All
that
right,
means so much to
Shannan.
me because that was the hardest thing with writing Parker's book, is that he was like this irritating factor, in the first 2 books. And now I gotta make him a hero. And I remember I got a message from Reese Hodges that basically was like, okay, I can't believe you did that. So I was like, okay, I did it. So because that was the challenge. So it makes me feel so good that you feel like that about Parker. So thank you.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And guys, you know how we do it here over here for Angel's Literary Tea. If there is a comment or if there is a character or what have you, definitely put it in the comment section. We will try to include you as well. All right, Miss Shannan, you are up next. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts in this series.
So my thoughts kind of mimic Midnight's. I still have issues with Parker. I enjoyed the book, but just his personality, it irks me still. It's like every time he comes up, it's like, oh my God, would you please go somewhere? But I know he can't. He's part of the family. Cole and the sister, I think Zara, I can't think of her name, but
Zora.
They have to be my favorite characters.
Oh, okay.
Because I especially loved how she and Cole related to each other. You can tell they were the closest, the siblings together.
Yes.
And that was like my favorite part. This was actually I enjoyed all of the books in the series, but this one happened to be my favorite.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I don't know what it is with me and bad boys. I'm not that type of person in real life, but for some reason in the books, I gravitate to the bad boys. Why? I don't know. But I did enjoy watching in the story. I know I'm telling too much of my business right now.
I was just gonna say, hold up, just let them talk. When the
bad boys, we got you. We got you, bad boys. Okay.
I'm now. You've got enough.
It is the bad boy experiment. So I mean,
that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
I just want to throw in there too, for anybody who does not follow Shannan on Instagram, you need to do that, because those little memes you be sharing, girl, are so funny. Like, I think you shared one not that long ago. Like, if you're single now, don't hook up with nobody, and you got to share your taxes with them.
Oh, she's speaking truth there. She's speaking truth
funny.
there.
Some of the memes you share are so funny. So, like, if you're not sharing, you're not following
Look,
Shannan,
Reese,
and
you
all
can
of these
use
ladies, you need to.
Look, Reese, some of Shannon's memes for some of those T-shirts that Cole liked to wear. For some of those sayings on Cole's T-shirts.
Y'all don't even want to know how much time I spent deciding.
Hey, baby, got you. She said, Shannan like them bad boys. It's okay, Shannan.
Thank you.
Hey, Shay, baby, thank you for joining us.
Hey, Shay, baby.
All right, Miss Tiffany, you are up next. Tell us a little bit about your experience with this series and your thoughts.
Okay, Angela knows me very well. I love the parents because I love how they're so interfering in their children's lives, and how they're always trying to get them with somebody, and then it's always the last one that they always pick on the hardest. Like, I need you to have a baby. I need you to get with such and such, and they already have it set out who they want them with, and somehow, some way, by miracle, by chance, they wind up being with that person, but the trial that it goes through to get there. So I love that facet of it all. And Reese, you are the queen of small town romances. I'm just saying.
Thank
Second
you.
Chance to Cypress Lane. I'm just down for whatever when it comes to small town romances.
Yeah.
So
Thank
I
you
had
so
to say
much.
that because every time I think about small towns, Reese is always at the top of my list. But I enjoyed following the series. I'm upset that I didn't get my my paperback book yet.
I know
But
it's coming. It's coming.
but I
It's been,
found an
oh, it's
arc,
been such
so
a
I was
thing. This
able
has
to
been
read
such a
it. Because
deal.
I was
Woo.
like, I know Reese is gonna say, well, didn't she say she don't have the book? How she read the book? I got my arc, so I'm good.
Right, right.
I made it happen.
Reese is one, and you guys can probably say the same thing. Reese is one of those authors that you got your Kindle version and you got your paperback.
Yep.
You just got all the versions.
Thank you.
Listen,
It
I
don't
had to
even
truck on. I had to truck on over to Love Sweet Arrow to get my books, and I got a couple for friends too. You know what I'm saying?
I was at Walmart yesterday and it was on the shelf.
Oh my God.
Like,
I love Love Sweet
buy it,
Arrow.
but I'm
So,
reading
and for
for
anybody who doesn't know who Love Sweet Arrow is, it's one of only two that I know of romance bookstores in the United States. And Love Sweet Arrow is in Chicago, run by Roseanne and her daughter Marissa, and they're fantastic. And it's just, they do a lot of projects and stuff with romance authors and stuff where you can get signed books from there and stuff. So they're amazing. So them and Rip Bodice in LA are the only two romance bookstores in the United States. So definitely, if you're looking for romance, and because a lot of places, indie bookstores don't really even stock romance. So if you're looking for an indie bookstore to get romance titles from, those two are it. Love Sparrow and the Rip Bodice.
Yeah, Shannon, if you go there,
And
you
Reese,
probably
they
can
are
attest
giving
to this.
you love
When you
in the
go in
audience.
there,
So
you have to be
apparently,
careful.
oh, go ahead, Midnight.
No, I was just going to say, Shannon can probably attest to this. When you go in there, you got to be careful. Don't go in there with a whole lot of money, and don't go in there with your credit cards, because you're going to walk in there. They're going to have your stuff all packed up nice, right? And then you're going to walk around. They're going to say, oh, yeah, she was just on our show. That's a really nice lady. And then there you go. Well, I'll take this too.
I was just there like maybe a couple weeks ago. Spent $100. There's a couple of books that are coming out Tuesday, so I may be there later on this week. I'm in Hazelcrest and they're in Tinley Park, so it's like 10-minute drive.
Right.
Oh, so as long as the snow it stopped snowing, and so the streets weren't too bad because I did my errands earlier today, so the snow should be pretty good gone. And the street should be pretty clear by Tuesday. So I'm already making plans to be there. I already know how much I can spend. I already got in my head what books I want to get. So I'll be there this week.
Holy Spirit activate is what we need to be saying.
I really do, but we'll see how much it's going to activate. I'm just saying. Because I did work a little extra.
They will take care of you.
Holiday pay, all that kind of stuff. So
I love it.
Oh, too funny. Sorry.
And as you guys can see, see with book nerdigans, when we love an author, when we love reading the way that we do, it's no limit. Rain, snow, sleet, we gonna get there and get them books, okay?
Yes,
guys, if you are just joining us, I am honored to be hanging out with Reese Ryan on today, guys. Of course, I got my help. You know how you feel like you got your help? I got my help today, guys. I got MidnightAce Book Bar. I got Shannan from Harper's Court. I got Tiffany Jones from Tiff Happy Place. I could not be amongst a group of book nerdigans to talk about the bad boy experiment. Of course, we want to include you guys. Put your questions, comments in the comment section. We will definitely include you. Okay, guys, we are ready to get into it. Let's start off. Okay, let's kind of start off at the beginning. Let's talk about that meeting in the general store. So we can't get past that. Okay, let's just talk about that meeting in the general store where of course it was the voice. He knew the voice before he even turned around. And then when he turned around, long gone was the coat by the glasses, the faces. It was like, wow. What was the thoughts when you, and now I don't know about you guys. I do want to tell you this. Before I started reading, I was so giddy. I was excited. I was so giddy. I don't know if the ladies felt the same way, but it was like I was ready. And like Midnight said, it was like, because it was the last one, it was like I kind of wanted to savor the moment. I didn't want to start, but I was like, I gotta read it. But yeah, I was so giddy when I started reading this book. It was just like, wow. I was like a kid at a candy store when I actually got it in my hands. And actually I had my Kindle version first, or what have you. But yeah, it was just that. So let's talk about that, ladies. Shannan, you want to start that first encounter at the general store?
Just the way he was described, it was like, wow. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. It was just like, wow.
Okay, now Shannan, are you talking about him or Ren? It sounds like you talk about Cole because he a bad boy.
I was kind of shocked. Like, okay. I wasn't upset about it. I was like, okay, this how she going with it. Okay.
And then Shannan, I love the fact that, because I don't know about you, it's something about those big monster trucks. So I was, even Rod is sexy to me. I'm like a big monster truck, and then,
All I could think about
what'd you say, Tiffany?
The Ford trucks. All I could think about was the Ford trucks, and I was like, oh man, if I was there, forget it. I'd be in trouble, and I'd probably have my husband looking at me like, "What's wrong with you?"
Well, you know,
like, not him, but you focus on the truck. Like right now, I'm in Pennsylvania, and yeah, it's truck central up here, and I'm just looking. I'm like, oh, that's a beautiful truck. I love a big truck and a big guy.
Look, y'all, I gotta pull out the fan, Lord. Let me start thinking about Cole Abbott.
As much as Angela loves cowboys, I feel the same way about a big man.
Oh my gosh! Oh my God! Yeah.
So Shannan, Shay Baby is praying for you because basically y'all all we got out of Shannan was wow. All right, Shannan, we gonna let you off the hook. We gonna move it to Midnight. What's your
Listen, I'm not much better with her too, because this is really just our real first encounter with Cole, other than those little sprinkles. And so we didn't know what to expect. So first of all, it's something to be said about a man that's going to the store shopping for his mother, right? Come on now.
I love it.
Okay.
And Shannan, I had some issues with the truck too, because all I could say is, "Can I ride?" Yes, right. But even if I can tell you about the truck, now the truck you can't sleep on the truck, because I was feeling some kind of way even through the story when they was neighbors and he was coming home parking the truck. Like, okay, let's just stop with the truck right now. But yeah, the truck. I know y'all said Cole, but yeah, Cole. But yeah, just describing him, because we didn't really have nothing to go on but that opening scene there. And then that's when you just start to, really just the layers start to unfold for him, because we didn't really know him then, until then.
And that's kind of the funny thing too about Cole periods. Like, so Cole was, he didn't appear in the series until book 3, to Parker's book, when he asked Kaylee, can you help her with her stuff? She's getting out the car. So that's the first time we actually meet him in person. And then we got a chance to know him a little bit better in A Reunion of Rivals, when him and Max was going at it about Quinn. But I don't know, from the time he appeared on the page, it seemed like he kind of became a fan favorite, and people kind of wanted to know a little bit more about him. So it just felt appropriate that his story ended up being last. And I was super stressed out, because I was like, this is the end of the series, and it's a character people are kind of waiting for. So I wanted to make sure that I got it right. And so it was a stressful thing writing the book. Plus it was the bittersweetness of it being the planned end of the series. So, yes, it makes me feel really good that y'all are happy with it. because I was seriously worried about that.
You delivered, Reese, and like I said,
Yes.
for those of us who followed it, from the beginning, yeah, we were definitely waiting for Cole's story, but you deliver, and it's hilarious, guys. I don't know, for those of who read the book, we're like at the second page. We got into it, as you can see, our impressions of Cole and the truck.
Well, Mercer had it on point when he said vroom, 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 vroom,
Right.
vroom.
Yes.
Baby.
Yes, absolutely.
Applaud the little 4-year-old, because yes, that's the most appropriate way to put it, because our words would have been different. Our words definitely would have been different.
She's gonna have to make this about this truck.
And also for the truck, if you like go to the book page from my website, go to reeseryan.com, and you go onto the page for that book, like the picture of the book's on the front page. If you click on it, it'll take you to the book page. There also, you'll find links to the playlist, which me and Angela was just talking about earlier, but also the Pinterest page. And the Pinterest page, I think, has a photo of the truck and the wheels, the Hot Wheels, the hub, the spinners. So,
right. So y'all hear it.
Guys,
We'll
see all of that.
Skip on over the Pinterest page.
You have not. Yes, and guys, let me just tell you, if you are a musical person, which y'all know I am, if you have not listened to this playlist, let me just tell you, first of all, it's going to be on repeat, especially if you listen to the playlist after you read the book. All the songs make sense. It was like Reese crafted the song for this book. I mean, they just like make sense. Because for me, I love music and I love beats, but I also love words, the words of the song. So if you listen to the words, you was like, okay, all the songs just made sense. Matter of fact, before this, guys, I was listening to the playlist. Okay, that playlist is on Spotify. Keep it, make it your favorite. So you can just keep listening to it whenever you want. And it's about, y'all know I'm so detailed. It's probably about an hour and 30 minutes, somewhere close to it, worth of just good grown folks music. How about that?
It is grown folks music.
Yes. Yes. Grown folks music. Okay, so we talked about our first encounter and their first encounter of meeting each other inside of the grocery store. So I'm gonna throw it to Midnight. Midnight, where do you want to go from here? Okay, where do you want to go from here?
Let's go to the cafe when they had the meeting. Yeah, you know that right there was a Holy Ghost setup. That's what that was.
Yes. And I totally agree with you, Shay. Yes, Reese was over singing and writing great playlists.
I love it, Shay, baby.
A Holy Ghost setup, Reese.
I love it.
Tell us a little bit about this Holy Ghost setup.
Oh my God. First of all, I love Milo, which Milo is her grandfather, and it was his mentor that helped him get into the whole construction business when he just wasn't fitting in his family distillery. So, and that's another thing about Cole. Like, he's the only person who doesn't work in the distillery out of all the siblings. And so, like, that's never really been fully explained why or whatever.
Yeah.
You just knew in Max's book, Reunion of Rivals, there was tension between him and Max over it. And so in this book, we get the full story of why he's not working in the company and how the tension it created in the family, but especially between him and Max. So, but yeah, so I love the scene with Milo, and I love how, how the whole thing, how they end up there, and he gives them this kind of a challenge as to how he's going to resolve who's going to get this land that they both want, that he owns, that's been in his family for years. So I'm glad you thought it was the Holy Ghost setup. So thanks.
Oh yeah, he already knew. He already knew that was going to bring them together, because both of them were so headstrong. Neither one of them were going to walk away. But you know, it's something too about that by Milo being her grandfather. I thought that it was really it was really something for him to even include him in that, because really that was her land. she was a sole survivor, so that she would have been a sole survivor, so that was her land. So it was something to be said for him to even include him in that in that family heirloom, if you will.
But you have to remember.
I think he also. Oh, go ahead, Tiffany.
You have to remember that he's been part of the family since they were in school. So he was like another grandchild to him because he stayed there while the granddaughter went off, got married, and had her little family. But he stayed and he took him under his wing because he was sort of shunned by the family because he didn't want to follow in their footsteps. So in a way, it was like a Hallmark movie where he's not family, but he somehow inherited something that was part of somebody else's family.
Yeah.
And I think also with him, kind of what Tiffany said too, with him knowing Cole in the way that he did, and him also being a part of helping to shape and to mold and to groom Cole or what have you too. It was kind of like, even though he was his grandson, he kind of was, if that makes sense, or what have you. And I think he also, just from seeing Cole grow up from a little boy, I think he knew Cole's heart. And I think he kind of had a little bit of that inner being. So he knew with putting that together that the land, and I think the granddad kind of knew that his outcome was what the outcome was going to be. But I think he knew a little bit of Cole's heart, that I think in the end, he felt like, you know what, this will be in good hands. And my granddaughter with this individual will be in good hands, because I trust, as they say, I trust this young man, or what have you. And it was like, he even had that part, he could chastise Cole. He could do all those things just like his father did. I think it was a really close, special relationship and bond that they had built over the years.
I think
Shannan, you have any thoughts on that?
Is how he cared about both. He cared about what was important for his family, but he also cared about what was important for the town. That I also really loved about him. He was like,
yes.
And he
was strong with that.
That these two things needed to merge. These two ideas for the future needed to merge for the town to be successful, yet still keep their way of life. Not have it change.
Yeah.
And so, I love the way
he very opinionated
this
about
was a way
that.
to bring those things together by making these two understand that.
Yeah.
Very opinionated.
And I think
about
that's
that.
where a little bit of that kind of like, like Midnight said, it was a Holy Ghost setup. But also, I think I love, Reese, how you bring the family dynamic, but you also bring that old school wisdom. So even though the grandfather was, older in age and things had changed or what have you, he still had wisdom to contribute. And I felt like that came out. The same thing with Cole's grandfather. I like how in the story that you still incorporate their thoughts and things of that nature too, because sometimes with how fast that things go in today's time, sometimes people forget about the wisdom, if that makes sense, or that old school knowledge that that sometimes can be a gift and a blessing or what have you. So I like how you incorporated the grandfather and also Cole's grandfather as well, with their input into the story.
Y'all know I love my big families and my my side characters. So yes, I love those two, both grandfathers.
Yes. All right, Tiffany, I'm gonna throw it to you. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go in the story?
Okay, so let's talk about when Mercer and Mercer and Cole actually met at the house, and he didn't realize that the child was autistic, which, thank you, Reese, because that is something that's not really talked about in books. Being that I have friends who have autistic children and I've been around autistic children, it's important that they are also recognized, because there's a whole broad spectrum in that world alone. But he automatically connected him to to the general store when they first seen him at page 1-2. So he was like, vroom, vroom, like that you trying to introduce him as Mr. Cole, and he's like, no, Broom. That's Broom.
And Tiffany, I'm glad you
Broom.
said it about that. Cole's response was hilarious to me when she was like, call him, it wasn't Mr. Abbott or Cole. He was like, oh no, I'll take the Vroom Vroom. Don't like he called me Vroom Vroom. That's a yeah, and I love that. Go ahead, Tiffany.
What I appreciated was, as we go further into the story, we learn more about Cole's background, but he related to Mercer, and I appreciated that. Like, you could see right off the bat, you know how some people change their ways to a child to appease a child? He was more genuine about how he approached him. He was more sincere, and you could tell, like, if you've been around autistic children, like, you have to approach them because you don't know what their triggers are. So he was very gentle, but he was sincere in his approach, and I really appreciated that. It meant a lot, and they connected, and I appreciate that they connected well off early in the book. I was just worried that I wasn't sure where you were going with this at one point, but I was worried that he would hurt for missing him, and because there was so much back and forth between Renee and Cole. So, I was worried more about Mercer because they take to changes differently than normal children. So,
well, thank you, Tiffany. That means a lot because, for me too, I have a son who is an adult, but he's on the spectrum, and my grandson is definitely on the spectrum. So he definitely inspired a lot of the little actions and stuff by Mercer's character. It was kind of like a mashup of my two grandsons, a lot of that stuff. So, like, the oldest grandson of mine is obsessed with monster trucks. So, like, that's kind of where I got the idea to have him have this truck and have that be kind of a thing that helped connect them, the two of them, quickly. But, like, some of the other little actions and stuff are definitely inspired by actions of my own grandson, so who is on the spectrum. So, yeah, I that's probably one of the things that I love most hearing people say is that they appreciate the representation of a child who has autism. And also, a couple of reviews talked about, including the one at the Library Journal, talked about the book representing not only the challenges of raising an autistic child, but also the joys that you have for raising an autistic child. And that really meant a lot to me because it is. I mean, yes, you have a lot of challenges, but there are so many. I mean, my grandson's so funny. He's mostly nonverbal, but the guy is hilarious, and he can make you do just about anything he wants you to do. Like, so it is. It's just such an amazing ride, and there's lots of ups, but there's lots of challenges, but there's a whole lot of ups as well. And so I'm glad that came through in the story for people. So thank you so much for saying that, Tiffany. That means a lot.
You're welcome.
I love it. Shannan, Midnight, you have any comments on that?
I'll just say that with Milo, he was a special character in there. But I also too, Cole had some challenges, some learning challenges as well too. So I like that that was one of his flaws too, and that was probably one of the reasons why he had so many issues with his family, was because of his learning challenges, and that they did not recognize it soon enough. Which is why he was sort of disconnected from them. And the reason why he was probably with Milo, the grandfather, Milo, right? Because he understood him.
Yes. And I think that probably happens so much in families, where that's the challenge. And I always think about that episode on the Cosby Show where we learned that Theo had a learning disability. And Vanessa always up this stuff trying to make people feel bad. She's like, well, how do you feel that they never, all this time he was trying so hard. And so that was kind of in my head, that scene where where we find out, he doesn't find out until he's like, I think he was a college age at that point. He was in college, I think, at that point.
He was in high school, going into college.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
he was ready to go into college.
And that happens quite commonly. So Like even going back to Parker, my biggest regret with that book is that I didn't say plainly, because I wrote him as a male, adult male on the spectrum who's undiagnosed, a high functioning male on the spectrum who's wasn't diagnosed. And so I never said that, because at the time I was like so terrified I was going to get it wrong and everybody was going to have a fit. So I was like, I wrote him that way, but I never specified on the page that he was. But in this book,
I think we got that though. We got that in Cole's book. I mean, I got it in Cole's book. That was the reason why I was able to be able to embrace him the way I was, because I felt like it was something there with him, and I again with Cole. And I think those are the reason why those two are my heartbeats, because they are unique. You know, they are unique, but smart as heck, but unique. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Can she hear me?
We hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Oh,
okay. Okay. So I do want to take you to look, guys. I do want to take it. Let's take it to when she, you know, she finds information out about this experiment. Okay.
The great aunt's book.
Well, first of all, as I told y'all that are just joining us, I'm wearing my my sweatshirt for a reason, okay? Because there was this scene in there where, you know, they are cleaning out the house or what have you, and she gets a look, and Cole gives her, you know, his sweatshirt that has, you know, his company on it, and of course, you know, it's all big and all that stuff, but I'm sure once she put it on to Cole, it was super cute and super sexy, okay? Because I know for me, I love putting on my husband's stuff. I don't know if you guys, this is off topic, I don't know if you guys have seen it. There is a TikTok video where the guy comes and first the girl has on his boxers and then she has on like something else. And in my mind, I'm like, that's so mean. Because he's like, babe. But I'm like, what is cute? Like, he even said one time, he was like, babe, you're stretching my boxers. And I'm like, how am I because, you know, I have kids. I'm like, how am I stretching your boxers? They look cute on me. You know, anyway.
You got hips.
TMI, but yeah,
you got hips.
So that was so fun. Like when I saw that. So of course, when he gave her the sweatshirt, that was just so cute and sexy to me and what have you. So that's why I'm wearing that. But let's talk about that first kiss. Who wants to take it?
Shannon. Room.
Shannon, I want no color.
I've said enough.
Well, I'll just say about
I like that she was the one who kissed him first.
Yeah.
Yes, she was. And it was a heat of the moment
intentional.
Type of
it was just that he was telling her about how she affected his life, you know, about how her believing in him and not making him feel less because of him learning differently and whatever, and what an impact that had on his life. She never knew that. And then, you know,
it was a heat of the moment thing. and it was sort of when you're in the moment and you get all these feelings and you just go on the flow. You don't stop and think. It's like a knee-jerk reaction to how your insides are feeling. And literally, she just went out and just jumped on it. And she wasn't sure how he was going to respond to it, but he took well to it. But it's also, they had these feelings in the past and they never acted on it. So it was a bit of pent up feelings, frustration. It wasn't aggression yet. Aggression comes a little bit later. But that's what I got from it. Look at Reese.
Yeah, I love that moment from between the two.
And I like the one. Remember when when the grandma came in? Remember she had some food or something she had with her.
They were upstairs.
And so, you know, when Cole left to catch her, she was like, and what took you so long to come down the steps? like Mercer for a little bit, guys. I don't know about you guys, but he just stole the show. He was just, oh my goodness. And the relationship that him and Cole, it's like they had their own relationship. They spoke their own language. And the one episode, remember when Cole was babysitting and she came home and they were both asleep on the couch. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
For me,
After
I
the
was like,
bachelorette party.
Yeah.
for me, I was like, Cole's I was like, he a goner. I was like, even if him and Ren don't work out, he got his own personal relationship with Mercer, or what have you too. And yeah, that was like super sweet, Reese. When you wrote, I was just like, oh.
Yeah. I really, really love the relationship that developed between the two of them. It just made my heart so happy.
And he looked for him every day out the window. So like it was almost like daddy's home.
Yeah.
We weren't there yet,
exactly.
You know? So that was where I started to get worried. Like at that point when you said that he was looking for him every day to come home from work or wherever he went grocery shopping or whatever. That's when I started to get worried. Like, okay, Reese, don't hurt me.
Yes,
right.
Whatever you do, don't hurt Mercer.
And Cole was so thoughtful, though. I remember the scene where, remember the guys came to work on Cole's house, but Mercer was asleep, and he was like, he told them, he was like, I'll let y'all know when y'all can start. He was like, text me when he wakes up. I was like, see, look, because when you messing with somebody's coin, somebody's money, I was like, I said, yeah. Hold on, I have a new respect for Cole, because he was like, he shut that down. He was like, okay, just text me when he wake up. We'll start then. I was like, okay, that's what I'm talking about. See, Cole, how could he not have your heart after that? Okay. Midnight or Shannon, you have any thoughts on the relationship with Cole and Mercer?
I loved it. It was just, they just had such a special bond that he didn't even have with his mother.
Yeah.
And it was just such a beautiful sight. It really was.
Yeah, I have to say I did enjoy them together, and like you, Tiffany, too. That first conflict that they had, and then he was looking for him too. I was like, okay, I hope it didn't turn out to be a foul one, because but I think their relationship started at the grocery store. That was that right there. I think they were both goners at that time. But well, at least when he got there. But I wanted to just say this too. So when me, when I'm always trying to look for visuals when I write my review. But I want to tell you something funny. So when I first got ready to do the graphic for the review, it was gonna be this old shack, but I couldn't get the visual of what the houses look like. So it was gonna be like this old broke down shack, like the ones you find in the country somewhere where the town, the land is forgotten about. And then I was gonna have this new one, but I couldn't find like a before and after one that looked the same. But for me, I was trying really hard to get a visual of what those two houses look like, and then what they were going to look like after, because she didn't really have to do too much. She just really cleaned out. But it sounded like Cole, his property that he had to do some construction. I don't know if he was just bringing it up to code, modifying it or whatever, but he was doing real construction while she was just doing dusting and cleaning. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, what do these houses look like? I was trying to get.
But I think for Cole, it was because of his background and what he does that he wanted to change it. Not that it needed changing, but for him and what he does, when it seemed like he bought houses and sort of flipped them, traded them for X amount of time. So I think that's why it seemed like he was doing more work than she was. But what I loved was when he offered to give her the HVAC system for free. She was like, oh, okay, and what do I have to do for this? Well, what's the return rate on this? How do I have to pay you back? He was like, no. And then that's when they came up with the agreement about going, her being his date for the family events that were coming up. And it's funny because you could tell at what point he literally fell for her not even really thinking about it, was when he stopped taking those phone calls from the other women that were in his life as playthings, and
Like,
he focused more on Ren, and Ren being a constant in whatever future things were going on with the family. So it's
Well,
sort of
do you think Milo had something to do with that too? Or not
Did he
Milo,
have something to do
Mercer,
with
Mercer, not Milo, but Mercer. Yeah, because he was there, like, you know what I mean? I think that was a real connection there with them, and it's kind of like they were a package deal.
yeah.
So it was
Well,
like,
especially when they went to the birthday party. Like when
yeah,
you think about, she was so nervous about
mm-hmm,
him being around other people, and he
yeah,
would
and he was
dress up
like,
with other
no, he
people,
was like,
which
my
is
family. He was like,
understandable.
Mercer's gonna be fine. Yeah,
Right. And they
yeah,
accepted him. And I love that scene where you never saw a moment of conflict or trouble. He blended right in. He played along with the kids, chased the bubbles around the yard. Look, I was there watching. He chased the bubbles, and
Yes.
and his
there was
family
not
even
one
they.
point.
I think the people. And the family even noticed too, like they was like, okay, Cole can't keep his eyes off Ren. Ren can't keep her eye. It was like somewhere wherever they were, they would find each other, what have you. And so they was like, you know how you're feeling, like, I could just see them like sitting on the sidelines, like, they saying ain't nothing. And they like Ren as well. His Cole, the Abbott family. As well, but they could see that something was there,
Was
like,
brewing.
okay.
Yeah. And to address
Yes.
what Midnight asked about whether or not, Mercer had something to do it, definitely he had deep feelings for her back then. They both had feelings for each other. It's just they didn't
Act upon
they
it.
didn't say it. They both had different reasons for not saying it. He told just flat out telling each other that. So he already kind of had that anyway. And as soon as they started to they reconnected, it was like almost like they picked up where they started, where they left off. I'm sorry, in terms of building that friendship. So, but Mercer just, I think, made it even deeper for him because he definitely had that affection right away for this little guy and understanding for him. He related to him, and so it was just, I don't know, it was like an instant family right without him even realizing that's what was happening. So yeah. And I another thing I really loved in writing this was the connection between Cole and Zora, and I think Shannon mentioned that earlier. And you saw that in earlier books, especially in Waking Up Mary. You saw the connection with Zora and Cole. And you see it again in this book, the conversations that they have with each other. So that was, for me, something that was super fun, too, to just write their little conversations and Zora being Zora in terms of the stuff she would say to him. So, yeah, like even from very beginning, she's like, okay, let's see this shirt. What shirt do you have on this time? So yeah, they were fun.
Yes, and Reese, I like the fact that you brought that out of him, because even though he was this wealthy, businessman or what have you, I like the T-shirt thing because that was his thing, or what have you. So to be able to show that, and again that Zora, like, she was in on, like you said, she was like, okay, let me see your shirt today. What shirt do you have on today? But that sense of humor that he brought out with those T-shirts, I like that you show that. I also like the fact, and the other ladies can jump in too, of how you kind of tied things together, because some of the other stories, not that they were left with cliffhangers, but some of the other stories or what have you, some things were kind of left untied or what have you. He was able to kind of tie it up, with the weddings and all of that stuff. I like that. Reese, do you have your snippet that you want to read? Do you have that available?
It's funny you talked about the scene with you talked about the T-shirt, and that's actually the scene that I was going to read. It's not the one where he gave her the T-shirt. It's the one later on where she has the T-shirt on. So yes, I do have the snippet. So. Okay. All right. So here we go. Okay. So just for background for anybody who hasn't read the book already, Renee's had a really rough day. Her son's had a really rough day, so she's had a rough day, and her son's finally gone to sleep. She's about to lay down for a nap because she's exhausted. She's had a long, hard day. And then she hears somebody pulling down the street and in the driveway, and Bob Marley is playing. She's like, what's happening? They're going to wake up my son. And so now Cole knocks at the door. So Cole knocked again. If he kept knocking, he'd wake up Mercer from his nap. As much as she adored her little boy, she valued her 2 free hours in the middle of the day. Besides, if Merce didn't get his nap, he'd be even crankier the rest of the day, and no one wanted that. Renee considered taking off Cole's sweatshirt, but she wore only a bra underneath it. She groaned quietly. She would choose today, of all days, to look like a raging dumpster fire and to be wearing Cole's sweatshirt while doing it. She huffed, then hurried to the door before Cole could knock again. Renee swept back the loose hair that had escaped her half-assed ponytail. She opened the door just enough to show her face. While she looked like a hot mess, Cole looked ridiculously handsome. How did the man manage to do that in a simple pocketed t-shirt bearing his company's logo and a pair of broken in but expensive jeans? Maybe it was the dark shades. They lent an air of mystery since she couldn't see his eyes. "Hey," she finally said. "Hey." Cole's mouth curved in a slow smirk, and one brow shifted upward. Was he amused because she looked like a disaster, or because she was peering out of a small crack in the door with one eye in an effort to hide the fact that she looked like a disaster? Not sure if you just don't want to be bothered right now, or if I should ask you to blink twice if you're being held hostage. Cole peered over her head into the kitchen. "I'm fine," Renee sighed, opening the door wider. She tried to ignore the flames licking the sides of her face as she died a slow death of embarrassment. "I laid Mercer down for a few minutes ago, and I'm trying desperately to make sure he stays asleep. As you can see, it's been a rough day." She indicated the stained and wrinkled outfit. "Let's just say this nap is essential for his sanity and mine." "Sorry, I didn't consider that little man might be taking a nap." Cole rubbed the back of his head. "I came to ask if you'd be okay with me. It'd be okay for me to park in your driveway while the guys are moving my stuff in. I'm expecting a few deliveries today, so I wanted to leave the room for the drivers to go in and out." "Yeah, sure. I'm not going anywhere or expecting anyone, so help yourself." Cole thanked her but didn't move. "Told you that sweatshirt looked good on you." Thanks." Ren self-consciously pushed up the 2 long sleeves. "Is there anything else?" "No, but I definitely don't want to wake your son." Cole rubbed his beard. "So why don't I give the guys a break? I'll treat them to a long lunch. Then we can start moving once Mercer is up from his nap." "You're going to work for 2 hours to accommodate my son's nap?" Ren asked in disbelief. "My sister-in-law Savannah adores my niece and nephew, and she's an amazing mom. But she looks forward to those daily naps. You're raising Mercer alone, so I imagine that's especially true for you." "Yes." Ren wrapped her arms around herself and nodded. "It's been more challenging than I expected to get work done when it's just the 2 of us here." She hated admitting that her plan already had a fatal flaw. She expected Cole to gloat, but he didn't. "Then I'll let the fellas know that before they get started. Text me when the little guy is up." It seemed like a small thing, Cole adjusting his day for the sake of her and her son. He was just being a decent neighbor after all. So why were her eyes stinging with tears of gratitude? Perhaps because he'd offered the concession without her asking for it. Such thoughtful consideration had come to mean the world to her. Ren stepped onto the porch and quietly called to Cole, who trotted down the stairs. "Yes?" "Thank you. I didn't mean to come off as," she sighed, running her fingers through her messy hair. "I'm sleep deprived and a little hangry." His mouth curved in a soft smile that made Ren's heart melt. He nodded, then jogged over to deliver the news to the movers. Renee returned to the sofa in her office because she really did need that nap. But as she lay there staring at the ceiling, she couldn't fall asleep. Every time she closed her eyes, all she could see was that damn smile of Cole's. So,
I love that scene. That was a good
I'm
one.
like smiling the whole time, and I got my little swoon in. I told you, if Cole didn't have your heart after that, I was just like, yeah, oh wow, I'm just.
I love him.
And guys, oh my goodness, as you can see, the hour goes by so fast. So we spilled the tea, but we still left some. So for those of you who have not read the Bad Boy Experience, we didn't do any major spoilers. So still go out and get it, read it. Of course, if you've read it already, definitely write a review. I know that Reese will be so appreciative. Midnight from Midnight Ace Book Bar, Shannan from Harper's Court, Tiffany from Tiff's Happy Place. It was just such a pleasure for you guys to hang out with us and talk about the Bad Boy Experience. Reese, oh my goodness, thank you so much for accepting the invitation to come hang out with us for tea. I'm gonna go around and let the ladies tell us how they can stay connected with us, and then Reese, when it's your turn, I'll have you to tell us what's next, and how we can stay connected with you as well. So we'll start with Tiffany. Tiffany, please tell us how we can stay connected with you and what you have going on.
Oh wait, I'm not last this time. Thank you.
You're not last this time.
It's a running joke between me and Angela. You can reach me at Tiff's Happy Place on Instagram and Facebook. Definitely. Yes.
Thanks. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
I love that. I love it. And Miss Shannan, tell us how we can stay connected with you.
Of course, I enjoyed it. I really had a good time with this. All over the place. My website is harperscourt77 at blogspot.com. I am on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And actually, I'm going to be doing like a series on, one of my series is going to be on romance, my favorite romance authors. So this book is definitely going to be part of that series. We're going to start it in February. So stay tuned for that.
So much,
got some other things coming up, but yeah, this is definitely going to be one of the ones that's going to be out there.
Looking forward to that.
I love it. I love it.
And thank you, Marlena. And thanks for hanging out with us today.
Yes. Oh my God, all right, Miss Midnight Ace Book Bar, tell us what you have going on and how we can stay connected with you.
Oh, I am all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at MidnightAce Book Bar. And my website is www.midnightacebookbar.com. Your place for all reviews and shenanigans and author supports.
Yes. And wine pairings with the books.
Oh yes, wines. Definitely the wines.
Yes.
But since we at the tea party, I didn't want to bring in
I want to try that bourbon though that Reese has in the book.
Oh yeah. That's a question though, Reese. What is your the Abbott, their bourbon? Is there one that you mirrored it from?
From the bourbon, the Bourbon Brothers bourbon, or the there was like, I took like kind of a blend or like a mixture of like a couple different ones when I was writing the book originally. I can't tell you which ones those are right now. I can tell you though, right now, my favorite, because like all the time I was writing this, I did not really, like, I wasn't a bourbon person. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't really until I started developing this box and I had to create the recipe. So it was like, the box, the commemorative booklet that's going into the box that's going out to everybody in the next week has a drink recipe and a food recipe inspired by each of the books. And so I had to like adapt recipes and create both drink recipes and stuff. So I had more to drink while I was doing this than I probably had in the 3 years before that, because I'm not a big drinker. I'm usually a person, I'll take a sip and I'm ready to go sleep. So anyway, but in doing this, I discovered a bourbon that I did actually really love, and it's called Rebel. And I love it because it's like not super expensive and it's super smooth. So I like that. But there's another bourbon that people who are getting, I don't really want to talk about it until everybody gets their boxes. Okay. But there's some other bourbon that we're going to be talking about a lot soon coming up, because it's a surprise in the boxes for everybody. That's from maybe I can just go. Okay, so maybe I should just say. So there are real life Bourbon brothers. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to go into a whole lot about them.
Okay.
But there's a gift from the real life Bourbon brothers in everybody's boxes, and so
okay, so that's going to be my signature. That's going to be my signature bourbon for this series. Then, so that's what I was looking for. So, all right, I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay.
So Midnight, you
so like I said, if you just because and their bourbon might not find it everywhere. Rebel, you probably can find everywhere at every liquor store, or whatever. But so you're gonna find out like they're like I started to get emails like about halfway through the series from people about these real life Bourbon brothers. It's the Bro Brothers Distillery in Kentucky, and they were kind enough to share a recipe as well as give a gift for everybody who bought a box. So in y'all's boxes, you will have a gift from the Bro Brothers as well. So
can we get it online?
So it's worth
like it. Can we get it online?
Exactly.
I'm all good then.
Yes. So you will have two glasses. You'll have the rock glass, which is your one that comes from the King's Finest Distillery. Is going to have that on it, and then you have the shot glass from the real life.
Listen, I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
She's ready to drink.
I am now.
So test boxes are out right now. We want to make sure that nothing got broken in shipment. So those are out now. So then after that, everybody else will get their boxes. So
all right. Okay.
It's been a journey.
Me too. I'm like you, Shannon.
Adele about her concert and how she had to cancel it and so she was in tears. That was how I was feeling with these boxes. So
I can imagine.
I know her pain.
Yeah. When you got sick.
But
especially
it's been
when
wild.
You got sick.
Everything's been wild.
Happening somewhere crying.
Yeah, so it was rough. But I hope y'all think it's worth it once you get the box. So.
Oh, you'll know.
I love it. And again, thank you so much for joining us to talk a little bit about the Bad Boy Experiment, which is the final book in the Bourbon Brother series as well. Definitely tell us how we can stay connected with you, what you have going on next.
So actually for me, it's wild. So my next book is not going to be until much later this year. It is going to be the next book, the spinoff series, the Valentine Vineyards. So I'm working on it right now. I'm working on the story right now. And I'm loving the story and the characters in this new family. So I'm so excited for y'all to meet everybody. So that's the next book you can look for. For me, it's crazy. This whole year, I'm probably gonna have like one book out all year. Next year, I'm gonna have like 7 books out. So just giving y'all.
Okay.
All right. 2023, I got 7 books coming out. This year is gonna be like 1. So just don't even be surprised. But I do have some other. I have some other fun stuff coming up. So there's a couple of books I did in the past that have just gotten really fun new illustrated covers. So those will be coming out later. So I'm excited for y'all to see those. So because those are some favorites of mine. So.
See, boys and girls, she's spilling the tea.
I am because I have not told anybody else this in public.
Yes.
So, yes, look for 2 fun illustrated covers
on
from two books that I've written in the past. So.
All right.
Okay. I love that. And Reese, definitely tell us about your, and your show there, and then how they can stay connected.
Oh, yes. Okay. So, yes, I have my YouTube show, which there's nothing scheduled for right now, but you can always go back and look at the past shows. It's called Story Behind the Story, and I normally talk with other author friends, and it's really interactive. We, talk with the readers and stuff who are watching live, because it's always live streamed. But this last time I had a conversation with readers and book clubs. So MidnightAce was on there. And MidnightAce Book Bar was on, was representing the house. And Antoinette Gates, who was here for the Mississippi Magnolias. And we had Shavonna Futrell from Victoria's Ladies Reading. So and Priscilla, of course, who was also here earlier. She was there for Priscilla's Book Maniacs. So it was so much fun, a great conversation about, book clubs, and Loretta Murray was there also from their Chicago, I can't think of the name right.
Downtown Reading Circle.
Thank you. Chicago Reading Circle. So we had a great conversation about book clubs, how you can find a book club, what makes a book club a good fit for you, and also for authors, how to approach a book club so that, if you're wanting to work with them in a way that won't be off-putting. So it was a fun conversation. So you can always find me there on YouTube. And of course, if you go to ReeseRyan.com, that's Reese with an S, you'll find everything else, all my Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff, the YouTube show, all of that you can get from there. So, but thank you for reminding me of that, Angela.
Absolutely. No problem. So, guys, definitely, you can go to her website. You can find all her social media handles there. Follow her on social media. She's very live and have a lot of stuff going on. As well, sign up for her newsletter if you haven't done that, as well too. And again, Reese and Midnight and Shannan and Tiffany, this has been amazing. It was a great group to talk about the Bad Boy experiment with as well. So guys, as I said, we didn't spill all the tea. If you haven't read it, definitely go out and get you a copy. You can get it from Love Sweet Arrows, Riches in Reading, your indie bookstores. You can get it wherever books are sold. It is an ebook as well as print copy as well. And definitely go out there and support Reese Ryan. If you are new to her, okay, let me just tell you, her backlist is amazing. You will be a fan, trust me. Again, if you want to start at the beginning, it starts with Savannah Secrets. You can start with there as well. Just take a look at her backlist and definitely read those and support her as well. So guys, of course, you guys know what I always say, have an amazing day, because we're having an amazing day, and we will see you next time as well. Of course, we have Shay Baby. I want to make sure that I get her comment in. There it is. Shay, thank you so much for joining us on today.
Yes. And she has an amazing series.
Anyway, she said, great interview. Sunday blessings.
Yes.
Have an awesome day. You too. All right, guys. We will see you next time on Angela's Literary Tea. Have an amazing day, guys. See you later.
Thanks. Take care.